What if the monster you fear was once a girl who only wanted to be left alone? Greetings, seekers of the strange and the sacred. Welcome to Myth or Real, the channel where myth bleeds into reality, and forgotten whispers from the past are given voice once more. If you're drawn to legends, lore, and the labyrinths of the human soul, you are in the right place. Today, we journey deep into the turbulent waters of Greek mythology to explore the tragic, terrifying, and oddly philosophical tale of Scylla. Was she a monster? A cursed maiden? A metaphor for the darker parts of our nature? Or perhaps, all three? Before we dive in, if you find beauty in ancient tales and mystery in mythology, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you won't miss our next dive into the mythic unknown. And after the tale, let us know in the comments, what's your favorite mythic character? Kings, warriors, demons, angels, or legendary beasts? Now let us begin. In the beginning, there was a maiden, and her name was Scylla. But unlike the Scylla you may know from Homer's Odyssey, the tentacled horror, who snatches sailors from their ships with gaping, barking mouths, this Scylla was once beautiful, mortal, and painfully human. She was the daughter of either the sea god Phorcys and the sea goddess Ceto, or, in some versions, of the river god Crates. Her parentage, like many things in mythology, is uncertain, as if the fates themselves wanted her origins to be blurred, undefined, like a dream half-remembered. Scylla lived along the rocky shores of southern Italy, near the Straits of Messina. Her days were serene, her laughter soft like the sea breeze. Fishermen claimed she was a nymph. Others said she was simply a girl who belonged to the sea. But all agreed on one thing: she was mesmerizing. But beauty, in mythology, is both gift and curse. And in Scylla's case, it was the seed of her undoing. There lived a sea god, Glaucus, once a mortal fisherman, who had eaten a magical herb that transformed him into a god of the sea. With his blue-green hair and fish-like tail, he roamed the waters freely, until the day he laid eyes on Scylla. He fell in love. But Scylla, frightened by his monstrous appearance, rejected him, not out of cruelty, but from instinct, from fear. Glaucus, stricken and desperate, did what many in myth do when love turns to sorrow. He sought help from a god. That god was Circe, a powerful sorceress. Circe was well-versed in herbs and transformations, a woman both revered and feared. Glaucus begged her for a potion to make Scylla fall in love with him. But Circe, too, fell in love with Glaucus. And when he rejected her, as Scylla had rejected him, Circe's love turned bitter. But Circe didn't curse Glaucus. No, she poisoned the sea pool where Scylla bathed. And as Scylla stepped into the water, her limbs twisted. Her lower half exploded into snapping dog heads. 12 in some stories, each yelping with hunger. Her waist grew serpents. Her body split and fractured until the maiden was gone, replaced by a creature whose very existence was pain. She fled to a cave high in a cliff that overlooked the sea. Opposite another terror, Charybdis, the great whirlpool. Between them, they formed a deadly passage. Sailors had to choose: be devoured by Scylla or sucked into the abyss by Charybdis. Homer tells us that Odysseus, guided by the sorceress Circe herself, chose to sail closer to Scylla. He lost 6 men, one to each snapping maw, as she reached down from her cliff to feed. But even then, Odysseus did not try to fight her. He was told it was pointless, that some evils must be endured, not conquered, that to fight would be to lose more. And perhaps that was the cruelest twist of all. Scylla did not choose to be what she became. She was not evil. She was transformed by it. And in that transformation, she lost everything. But myths evolve. In later versions, Scylla isn't simply a mindless beast. She becomes more tragic, more complex. In some versions, she tries to hide, ashamed of what she has become. In others, she lashes out only when disturbed, like a wounded animal. And here is a detail you may not know. In some rare variants, Scylla was eventually slain. According to one lesser-known version, Heracles, the great hero, killed her in revenge after she devoured one of his companions. But her father, either Phorcys or another sea deity, revived her, giving her immortality, not as a blessing, but as a curse, to live eternally as a guardian of the straits, to never forget who she once was. In another forgotten tale, the people of nearby lands began worshipping her. not out of love, but out of fear. They gave her offerings, spoke prayers to her, even built shrines. But what god would want worship based on terror? Scylla, then, is not just a monster. She is transformation. She is the embodiment of how beauty can be twisted, how love can curdle into vengeance, and how even gods can be petty, cruel, and heartbreakingly human. She reminds us that behind every monstrous face, there might be a story of pain, that sometimes what we fear was once something beautiful, and perhaps that is the most terrifying part. If this tale stirred something in you, leave a like and subscribe to Myth or Real. We dive deep into the shadows and bring back stories that still have teeth. Now it's your turn. Tell us in the comments below. Who is your favorite mythological character? Are you drawn to noble kings, fierce warriors, vengeful gods, gentle angels, or the creatures that lurk just beyond the veil of reason? Until next time, remember, myths are not just old stories. They are reflections, echoes, warnings, and sometimes mirrors. Farewell, and keep questioning what's myth and what might be real.